Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today.
Last night was one of the greatest game conferences I've ever laid my eyes on.
Truly, I've never witnessed something so magnificently bad. Concept art as far as the eye could see, games in pre-production, empty promises. Man, EA Play 2020 was a movie. I'm so happy to be a part of it. In all seriousness, my expectations for the show were not high. Like, they were down here because I know EA Play historically is bad. They focus on EA Sports, which is a big part of their brand, and I understand that. For me, all I looked for, anything else would have been a pleasant surprise, was the Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy, like we have discussed on the channel before and that we know is in development. Now, don't get me wrong, there were cool things like Star Wars Squadron. As someone who owns an Oculus Rift, I cannot wait to hop into that game and just get fully immersed in the Star Wars universe with these crazy space dogfights. I'm all about that, especially because they said it's $40. It's not a live service game. There's no microtransactions. They're not even planning out future content. So that alone does have me excited, if I'm quite honest with you all. Skate, of course, as someone who's played Skate religiously throughout their middle school years, I am hyped to see it coming back, but it was one of those announcements where they were just saying, hey, it's happening and we'll talk later. I guess the confirmation is great. I say this as someone, once again, who put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into the original Skate. And then, you know, I played a lot of Skate 2 and 3, but for me, the original was my favorite. Still, it's good to see it back, but the focus of today's video is, where is the Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy? We're going to talk about that a little bit today. So if you guys recall, I covered about a month ago or so how the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster is happening, and this information came through VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, who's been a leak machine in 2020, and he's been on point for the most part. But he did say that the Mass Effect Remaster was happening when EA discussed how they were bringing back a fan favorite franchise. Now, he never promised that it was going to be at EA Play, but of course, the safe assumption, I think, for all of us was, oh, this is EA's show, and this isn't going to be exclusive to one console or the other, so I imagine we can expect EA Play to have the Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered, especially because as the show went on and I continued to react to it, I thought to myself, wow, there's really nothing here. They have to have the Trilogy Remastered at this point. They have to have it ready to reveal, because that's one of those show savers where you go, at least we got this. For a lot of people, it was Skate. For a lot of people, it was what we saw with Star Wars Squadron. For some people, it was Joseph Fares, and as well as the rest of the EA original titles. But honestly, I thought it was going to happen too, and I'm shocked to say it didn't. So since Jeff Grubb was our source for the original information, I thought, all right, let's see what his updates are on his Twitter. Whoops, I hit the mic. Sorry about that. What I was trying to say before you got in the way was that we're going to go ahead, check Jeff's Twitter account, see what he had to say about EA Play, and some updated information on what's going on over there with that Mass Effect Remaster. So yeah, Skate 4 has been in the works for a while, but it's always been in this, quote, are we really going to do this, end quote, limbo. My understanding is that this is them essentially starting over and obviously really going for it. One interesting side note as well is that when Jeff was asked about a thing that he told a friend to be ready for that ended up not being at EA Play, Jeff quoted the tweet and said, oh yeah, first of all, my bad, Mike. Second, the Burnout Remastered team is doing another one, but this time for Need for Speed. I think Hot Pursuit. Have they remade that yet? Okay, wow. So that would really send the internet into overdrive, because the Need for Speed series is loved by so many. I adore Most Wanted 510 on the PSP. That is personally my favorite Need for Speed title. But hey, more Need for Speeds on the way. It's that season, man. Tons of remasters and remakes will continue to pour out. Next up, Battlefield 6 is modern. UFC is coming. EA is making a golf game of its own again, which I'm actually kind of excited about. Battlefield Bad Company Remastered that I teased years ago got canned. Oh man, that last one hurts. I love Bad Company, especially Bad Company 2. Bad Company 2 was my introduction to the Battlefield franchise, and I loved the multiplayer for that game. So good. So this one was a swift kick in the nads for me. Lastly, and more focused on today's video topic, Mass Effect Remaster is coming this year. BioWare already said it's working on Anthem 2.0 and Dragon Age 4. So yeah, during the showcase, we got, I think, 10 seconds of Dragon Age 4, and as someone who I committed to starting a brand new playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm doing it on stream. We're going to be playing it tonight, so if you guys want to tune in, we'll be live around like 8 or 9 Eastern time. But anyway, I digress. As a person who's returning to Dragon Age for the first time in a while, I was excited to maybe see more Dragon Age, but I thought that was a little foolish to fully expect, because it was very clear when they announced it that this game was very early in development, especially with the way Anthem went. Now they have to overhaul that. They're already splitting up their team in a number of ways. So once again, it brings about the question, why didn't they show off the Mass Effect remaster? Let us know BioWare is alive. Let us know that they are listening. And I don't know where else they would show it. Some folks were speculating, hey, maybe they're going to do this at the Xbox showcase, but as far as I'm aware, that was supposed to be mostly their first party studios, and the third party stuff was already in May, which we already laid our eyes on and saw how mismarketed that one was, but that's already come and gone. So it appears that whenever the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster is announced, it's just going to be, from what I can tell, it's just going to be random. It's just going to happen one day, which as a content creator, it's like, oh, of course, you know, every day I got to wake up, check the news, be like, all right, what's happening today? And just base it off of that at that point. But I do trust Jeff. And also it was reported beforehand. It didn't gain a lot of traction, but it was reported beforehand that BioWare was questionable for this EA Play showcase and what they had to show off. That's where I went from like, oh, it's definitely happening at EA Play to 50-50, like it may or may not. But I kind of like the idea of them waiting to announce it until it's maybe like a month or 2 months out, or even shadow dropping it. Like that's far more exciting. The Kingdoms of Amalur remaster was more exciting to me because it was announced and then they're like, it's coming in August. And I go for a sec, oh, August, and then realize, oh my gosh, that's 2 months later. So I'm going to be playing that very soon. And that got me more excited, especially because it's fairly priced. But you couldn't say that, for example, about like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. That was last E3, and I love Battle for Bikini Bottom, by the way. One of the best 3D platformers ever made. But with that in mind, it was a long wait. And with remasters, your hype can die down quick because you've already experienced it, right? So maybe EA recognized that, and this will be released early fall, maybe sometime in September. So they want to wait till next month or maybe even August to reveal it. But the wait does continue, sadly. The good news is, according to Jeff, it's still happening, and it will be coming out this year. One of these days this year, we'll be sitting down with the Trilogy Remaster. I just pray. I really do pray. And especially after seeing what EA is doing with Command & Conquer, with their remaster, where they're adding so much new stuff to it, like practically overhauling the game. I hope Mass Effect gets that treatment. I know it's very popular, so it can sort of rest on its own laurels, but I really hope they rework the combat for one. And man, would things blow up with pure hype if they said we're overhauling the ending of the third game, because everyone would sit down for a ride through the entire trilogy. I would lose my mind, and I think a lot of people would, because at that point, it's a fresh experience, because the third game, we all know how it ends for the most part. I won't spoil it just in case, but the third game kind of devalues any of the choices you make along that whole journey. One of the best things about Mass Effect was that real carryover, and the journey of 3 is good, but the ending didn't really represent the choices you made. So man, it would be so cool to see them try to tackle that and redo that. While we're on that conversation though, and I just got thinking of this now as we recorded, so I just wanted to tack it on. I really don't like how BioWare's in this reparation phase, right? Like Anthem came out, it failed, so now they're repairing that with 2.0. We have maybe Mass Effect 3, and if they were to repair that ending, that's another thing they're trying to fix. Mass Effect Andromeda, I understand that was a different BioWare, the C team, as everyone said, but at the same time, that came out and spent a lot of time fixing it until they completely abandoned it, did no single-player DLC for it, which single-player DLC for Mass Effect 2 especially, is one of the highlights of the game. It's one of the places where you can make amends. Like, for a lot of people who have been telling me Dragon Age Inquisition, a game I've been strongly against, a lot of people are saying, get to the DLC and you'll actually like the game. So I trust people on that, because that's where things get more focused. That's where they have all the feedback accounted for. But man, I just want to see them make a good game and drop it, and that be it. But anyway, I'm just rambling at this point in time now. I appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. So the Mass Effect Remaster is still on the way. We don't have an exact date. It's only a matter of time, so we just have to remain patient. There's still a number of events to pay close attention to in the meantime to keep us busy, like Night City Wire, we have the Xbox event, there's still Warner Brothers, there's still Ubisoft, maybe Bethesda ends up doing something. We'll see down the line, but it'll be an interesting couple of months regardless, and eventually we'll have Mass Effect in our hands. So now I pass the conversation over to you. What do you think about what's going on with the Mass Effect trilogy? Fire away in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all of the patrons who continue to support all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.